The morning sun poured golden light across the airport runway, painting the sky with hope while one exhausted father quietly carried the weight of a lifetime on his shoulders. Dressed in faded jeans, worn sneakers, and an old jacket that had seen better days, Rowan Mercer gently held his little daughter, Eliza, as they stepped onto the aircraft. To everyone around them, he looked like just another struggling parent who had somehow wandered into the wrong cabin. No one, not the passengers, not the flight attendants, and certainly not the pilot, had the slightest idea that the quiet man sitting in first class was the true owner of the airline they were flying on. Before we begin, if you believe kindness is stronger than appearances and that everyone deserves a second chance, please like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone you love, and subscribe to Heartline Stories for more emotional journeys that remind us what truly matters. It was a bright, peaceful morning, and the airport buzzed with travelers rushing toward their destinations. Rowan had purposely dressed simply for years. After losing his wife, Maris, to a sudden illness 5 years earlier, expensive suits and luxury watches no longer meant anything to him. His greatest treasure was the little girl asleep against his shoulder. Building the airline had once been his life's dream, but raising Eliza had become his greatest purpose. He rarely visited company offices, avoided media attention, and often traveled anonymously to understand what ordinary passengers experienced. The first-class cabin slowly filled with business executives and wealthy travelers. Some glanced toward Rowan with quiet curiosity. His clothes seemed out of place among tailored suits and designer luggage. Eliza hugged an old stuffed rabbit whose ears had been stitched together several times. It was the last gift her mother had given her before passing away, and Rowan never allowed it to be replaced because he knew memories could never be bought. Just minutes before departure, the captain unexpectedly entered the cabin. His confident stride drew everyone's attention. He stopped beside Rowan's seat and looked carefully at his boarding pass. His expression hardened. Several passengers looked up from their phones, sensing something unusual was about to happen. Without asking questions or checking the reservation thoroughly, the captain politely but firmly insisted there must have been a mistake. He explained that first class was reserved for premium passengers and suggested Rowan move to economy before takeoff. His words were calm, but they carried an assumption that cut deeper than anyone realized. Around the cabin, whispers spread. Some passengers nodded quietly, believing appearances told the entire story. Rowan looked down at Eliza, who had just opened her sleepy eyes. She squeezed his hand tightly, sensing her father's silent disappointment even though he forced a gentle smile. Years of hardship had taught him that true strength often meant staying calm when others judged unfairly. He could have revealed his identity immediately, but instead he simply handed over his boarding pass again and waited. A senior flight attendant named Nora noticed something strange. The boarding pass had special markings usually seen only on confidential executive reservations. Her heartbeat quickened as she contacted the operations desk for verification. Within moments, the message returned. Everything changed. The color drained from her face as she hurried back toward the captain. Her hands trembled slightly while she whispered the truth. The man everyone believed didn't belong wasn't simply a passenger. Rowan Mercer had founded the airline nearly 20 years earlier after working countless nights as a mechanic, baggage handler, and trainee pilot. Every aircraft carrying the company's logo existed because of his sacrifices, sleepless nights, and impossible dreams. The captain stood frozen. His confident posture disappeared beneath overwhelming embarrassment. Every passenger watched as confusion slowly turned into stunned silence. Rowan quietly stood, comforting Eliza before gently placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. There was no anger in his eyes, only sadness. He explained that he traveled anonymously because he wanted to see how customers, and employees, were truly treated when no one recognized them. Luxury meant nothing if compassion disappeared the moment someone looked poor. Policies could be improved. Aircraft could be upgraded. But respect for people had to come from the heart. The cabin became completely silent. Several passengers lowered their eyes, remembering the assumptions they had silently made only moments earlier. A businessman who had secretly rolled his eyes at Rowan now felt ashamed. A young woman wiped away tears after realizing how quickly people judge appearances without knowing someone's story. The captain sincerely apologized, admitting that he had failed to uphold the values the airline claimed to represent. Rowan accepted the apology without hesitation because he believed mistakes could become powerful lessons when people chose humility over pride. As the aircraft climbed into the bright blue morning sky, sunlight streamed through the windows, filling the cabin with warmth. Eliza smiled while looking at the clouds, completely unaware that she had witnessed a moment that would forever change several lives. During the flight, Rowan walked through economy class instead of remaining in his luxurious seat. He spoke with families, elderly travelers, and nervous first-time flyers. He listened more than he talked. Every smile, every complaint, and every suggestion mattered to him because he understood that a successful company wasn't measured only by profits but by how people felt when they were treated with dignity. The captain spent the remainder of the journey reflecting on his actions. He realized that years of routine had slowly replaced empathy with assumptions. Before landing, he made a heartfelt announcement to every passenger. Without mentioning Rowan by name, he reminded everyone that kindness should never depend on clothing, wealth, or appearances. His voice cracked with emotion as he admitted that even experienced professionals could lose sight of what truly mattered. When the plane landed under the warm afternoon sun, the passengers applauded, not because of a perfect flight, but because they had witnessed something far more meaningful than exceptional service. They had seen humility, forgiveness, and humanity rise above pride. In the weeks that followed, Rowan introduced a new company-wide program centered on compassion, respect, and unbiased customer service. Every employee, from pilots to baggage handlers, received training that emphasized one simple principle: every passenger carries an invisible story. Some battles cannot be seen through expensive clothes or worn jackets. Every person deserves kindness before judgment. The captain remained with the airline. Instead of losing his career, he became one of its strongest advocates for empathy. He openly shared his mistake during employee training sessions, hoping others would never repeat it. His honesty inspired countless workers to treat every traveler with equal respect. As for Rowan, he continued flying anonymously from time to time. Not because he wanted to test people, but because he never wanted to forget where he had come from. Every journey reminded him of the difficult years when he struggled to provide for his family, dreamed impossible dreams, and refused to give up despite overwhelming obstacles. Eliza grew up watching her father lead not through power, but through compassion. She learned that true wealth wasn't found in private cabins or luxury seats. It lived inside hearts willing to forgive, to understand, and to choose kindness even after being misunderstood. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, share this video, and subscribe to Heartline Stories. Your support helps us continue sharing meaningful stories that remind the world compassion still exists. Rose special request: comment below with the words, "Kindness sees beyond appearance," if you believe every person deserves respect before judgment. As Rowan and Eliza walked hand in hand through the glowing afternoon terminal, surrounded by ordinary travelers who had no idea who he really was, he smiled quietly. He had built an airline that connected cities, but that day, something even more important had happened. Hearts had been connected. And sometimes, the greatest destination isn't the place where a plane lands, it's the moment someone learns to see another human being with compassion instead of assumptions. That is a journey worth taking every single time.